So today I will share with you again to refresh your memory. I will share with you some of the concept of e-invoicing, and again I will go in depth for certain specific tax treatment. I believe last round there are too many already when I actually explain about these specific tax treatments. So today I'm again going to just zoom in on those particular, a bit more complicated one and more applicable to Matra one to let you have a clearer idea about all the respective specific tax treatment. And the most important thing, we need to go through this My Invoice portal. Not only My Invoice portal, I will add on using the SQL cloud to let you have some experience it, how to issue e-invoice, how it look like for those who in charge to use this one. Who have the account for SQL so far? There are a number of users, right? 4 users. Miri 2, KL 2, KL 4. Okay, so later after the break, if you have your laptop, please bring your laptop here. Later, only 2 laptops. Then only the 2%. That's the case. Okay. Then we take turn now when it comes to that exercise. So inside the number 4, we will actually let everybody to experience how you issue your e-invoice for different type of e-invoice and the cancellation. Later we'll do some exercise together. And remember, timing. And what will be the future impact other than the non-compliance? What will be the future impact with the full implementation of e-invoicing? So let's recap. What is this e-invoice? E-invoice, not the traditional way how we issue the invoice. It's a digital way of exchange the invoice information. Let's say today I sell to Shikin. Then Wei Fang is the IRB. She will help to validate the e-invoice before sending to us. So only validated e-invoice is considered as e-invoice. So all the e-invoice, what it means is this must be validated. And you must check because right now you can see certain invoice, it might not be genuine one. So it's better to double check whether the invoice you receive is correct or not. Not just looking at QR code is confirmed correct. The QR code, people, if for those who have the intention to tipu you one, they can always create lah. So just double check on that. Ayo, janganlah. I just caution. It might happen because you're just looking at payment, it already happened. Using QR code to scan, right? But they are scanning to a different code. Yeah, so when it comes to invoice, it might happen to let others people who have the intention to falsify all these documents. So what are the e-invoice that we need to have? The standard e-invoice, consolidated consolidated e-invoice, sell bill. Sell bill is just invoice itself. No, debit note, credit note, even refund note. You can have this sell bill. And sell bill, we can also do consolidated. For example, if let's say just now we mentioned, if you deal with individuals who are not conducting business, you need to raise sell bill, isn't it? But they are considered very small business. So for them, right, at HDN, they allow us to do consolidated. You may not necessarily to raise one by one. If you have many this kind of individual who are not conducting business, you can combine together. So this one maybe just to take note lah. Because so far I see Matra, maybe you don't have many. But in future, if you have more than 10, more than 20 in a month, do you want to issue one by one? But to be clear, maybe from accounting perspective, you prefer per transactions. But for some of the organization, if they have too many, this might be the way to save their time. If let's say they have too many, because like my other retail sector, they have a very serious issue when it comes to e-invoicing. To them, not 100, not 1,000, not 10,000. It's million when it comes to e-invoices. A lot of retail sector easily more than 2 million in a year. 2 million divided by 12. Again, you go and divide by 30. How many invoice in a day? it might be more than 1,000. So it's very tough if you issue one by one. So the type of transactions that we cover in Malaysia, right, unlike other countries, when they have first adoption, they may just having B2B, business to business, or business to government, just like India. When their first adoption, only B2B and B2G. You see, India so big, it's much bigger than Malaysia. They only start with B2B, B2G. They didn't touch B2C. But Malaysia, we not only B2B, B2G, we also have B2C. So every one of us, you will have the experience how this e-invoice impact you in the future. If you really need to use it for your business purpose, but it's for your own usage, you can ignore it because it's not applicable. So for the come to this not applicability, for those who are not conducting business, not applicable. Just recall, I don't have the slide on that. You can refer my earlier slide. So for those who are not conducting business, who else fall under the exemption? Government body, SSM, your DPKL. They are considered as those statutory body, government body. So for those summon, license, actually they already have the data. So for them, right, no need to comply with e-invoice at the moment. And other than this, who else? Certain NGO, those World Trade Organization, WTO, WHO, this kind of organization for the services or goods, this type of transaction before 1st July, no need to have e-invoice. Because they put it so clearly, before 1st July, even for government body, SSM, we can purchase data one, isn't it? Moving forward, they may have e-invoice because in the ruling itself, it mentioned 1st July, before 1st July. After 1st July, how? So looking at the guideline, it seems like after 1st July, even for them, they need to have this e-invoice system in place. For those statutory body, if let's say they are involved selling goods or services, SSM, selling data, this is their goods already. Like we have the InvestKL. InvestKL is another government agency. MIDA, they also have this kind of selling. When you do application, then you need to pay certain fee, license fee. All these, subsequently, you may have the type of e-invoice format as well. Other than that, who else? Not require the e-invoice one. Certain income and expenses. For example, what type of income? Your salary. Other than salary, what else? Your allowance, pension, alimony, dividend distributed by listed company, or single tier dividend. They are not required. Or certain contract, all this is not required. Or the disposal of share for those unlisted, but by the company one you need to have lah. For those individual one, no impact one. Because last year there is a new tax called capital gain tax. Capital gain tax actually tax on those disposal of shares in those unlisted company. But individual is exempted. So consistent with this practice, when come to e-invoicing, if this one is individual, no need to have e-invoice as well. But for company, you need to have. So this will be for the type of transaction covered under this e-invoicing. As for the model and format, how we can generate e-invoice? There are two ways, still recall. Either you use the free solution or you need to invest a bit in your current accounting system. Like I know Matra already invested, SQL already come in. They can help you to facilitate the whole process. And the structure format that is accepted by the both system, it must be in the XML format and JSON format. This format is machine readable one. Why? Then it will be very fast for them to process. Otherwise, it will take a longer time. It means that in order for them to process quickly, it must be in this format. Otherwise, it takes too long for them to react on it. So for this My Invoice portal, I think quite a number of you is already a bit familiar about this. It's developed by the Hasil. As for the API integration, because the company just installed it, maybe you are not so familiar with the feature, but no worry. practice make perfect. So later we'll try to practice a bit more to let everybody familiarize on how we can use this SQL to help you when come to this e-invoicing. But just to take note, in case in future you encounter why you cannot upload the document, you might have exceeded the limitation. So remember, the maximum size per submission is 5 MB. Then the e-invoice that you can submit one time cannot exceed 100 pieces of the e-invoice. And maximum size of each e-invoice is 300 KB. So just to recap, what will be the required field? And I understand that you have already compiled all the data, but this is very important when it comes to these buyer details. Always remember, because it takes longer time, especially when you generate using My Invoice Portal, this will take a longer time. If you actually fail to put in all these details, you may experience being rejected or cannot go through because the tag need to be all in green color, only able to generate the e-invoice. And no worry, it's not, this thing may subject to changes, but at the moment, these are those mandatory fields. As for those yellow color one, they are optional. And there will be additional field required if there is any import or export. So who in charge import? Wawa? Not you. Who in charge? Then, oh, okay, remember, you need to have the K1 form reference number. Always remember, you need to put it in because you need to be in charge of, you'll be in charge sale bill, right? Sale bill will be you. So remember to put in the reference number for the K1 form. Later, I will have a specific scenario, especially on these importations. So the sample format for this JSON and XML format is just for your information. You look at it, I look at them, I also don't understand what is this. Machine can read will do. Okay, for us, we need to understand this visual representation. It's really in the words that we can understand. It's a human readable. Unlike this is machine readable. This one you let SQL go and read it. Let your API. This one we read it and your customer read it. Okay. And this is the sample for consolidated e-invoice. For consolidated e-invoice, maybe I emphasize a few points before we start the exercise. Remember the TIN number. What kind of TIN number you need to put in? The EI, 9 followed by 90, then 10. That is for local one. Foreign one, 20. But for purchase one, 30. Last one, 40, government. No worry, SQL also got. I see they already put it there. You just click. Otherwise, you key in one by one. You ask Vanessa how many times you have to put in the 90. You calculate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's actually save you a lot of time using the system. So not only that, not only your TIN number, your buyer name, for consolidated, put in general public, and also the quantity is always number 1. You just put in one line, just put in 1 for quantity when come to consolidated one. And the invoices are only for those transactions you didn't generate e-invoice. You will go to this consolidated. Today, I think during the demo, they have also mentioned about this. They have another how to differentiate which one you need to issue e-invoice, which one you need to issue consolidated. Never mind, if you cannot recall, later we do it. This one is for those if you have branches, because you have list of company. So in case in future you want to have branches, then you may have this kind of scenario because you deal with B2C. So for B2C, you may wish to consider you want to have consolidated instead of you issue the e-invoice per transaction if your volume is become very high in the future. But right now, SQL, they have the feature for you to do consolidated. So these are the specific tax treatment that I'm going to share. Okay, so last round we have already bring you through about this transaction with buyer. How should we deal with it by using different portal, using the website, post system, or on your own system, or another one, employment, perquisite, and benefit. And together with the certain expenses incurred by the employee on behalf of the company. So these two, I will put it together and refresh everyone's memory again because I still realize some of you may not be so clear when it comes to this employment perquisite staff claim. How should you go with it? And disbursement and reimbursement. You might encounter it, so later we will re-emphasize it. As for intercompany transaction, just now that scenario, intercompany transactions. But if you have some further question on this one, can let me know. Cross-border transactions, importation. So later we will bring you to a few scenarios for all these importations or of goods and services to let you have a clearer idea when you need to issue the e-invoice. As for the e-commerce transaction, is more for those e-commerce platforms, Shopee, Lazada. Anyway, they will be the one who issue invoice to you. They will also be the one who issue sell bill e-invoice to all the seller. So let's say Matra, you are going to put your products in Shopee to sell to public, right? Let's say I purchase the fertilizer from Shopee. Then Shopee will issue invoice to me. Then they will actually also inform Matra indirectly by raising sell bill e-invoice to say that, Awenchi already placed this order. So for them, right, they will issue sell bill to recognize this particular sales. So it's a bit different from last time that seller need to issue invoice to the platform, to the customer directly. Now they have changed the way how they do the operation, especially for this e-commerce platform. But so far, did Matra using Shopee or Lazada? Did you already receive their sell bill? Maybe you can check from your system. You can check from your system. Because for this e-commerce platform, right, I think, let me draw that again. We do some exercise. I also have to exercise a bit. Okay. 有没有提示的？哦，提示easier. Okay, just roughly recap about these e-commerce transactions. So let's say today we have Shopee here. Shopee is here. Matra is here. And this is your customer. Customer is here. So customer, they place the order. They pay to Shopee. They buy the goods. Buy the fertilizer, and make payment. Then what Shopee will do? Issue e-invoice. They will issue the e-invoice. Shopee will be the one who issue e-invoice to the customer. Last time, Matra is the one who issued the invoice to customer. That was the earlier practice. But come to e-invoicing, Shopee become the one who issue e-invoice to your customer. But how we actually account for the transaction between Shopee and Matra? Shopee will raise sell bill. So by right from your system, you should be able to see this sell bill e-invoice to check whether correct or not. Because Shopee become the one who responsible to issue this e-invoice to your customer. But for you to account for this particular sales transaction, they raise sell bill e-invoice to you. So maybe have to check the portal to see how many transactions that has happened already. So this is something, a major change. Because last time is here. This will be the one. That was last time now. But now it's only here. Shopee will become the one who take more responsibility when it comes to issue the e-invoice, and they also have to make another effort to raise sell bill e-invoice. They may also raise another e-invoice, not only sell bill, they may raise another e-invoice to you. By using their platform, then you need to pay platform fee, isn't it? So they may also issue you E-invoice for the platform fee. Have you received it so far? Yet too. You have to check. This one, by right, they will issue you e-invoice for this platform fee. Because sell bill is sell bill. The sell bill, there is a different coding. Later, we will go through again. When we do the demo, you can have an idea. So Shopee, sell bill and e-invoice just to the MISD. But customer, e-invoice only. Clearer now? Okay, so this one is on the e-commerce platform. So talking about this employment, we'll come back here. We talk about, we still have some time, right? Let me talk another 15 minutes, then I give you a small break, then you can bring your laptop in, okay? So we will emphasize again on employment perquisites and also the expenses you incur on behalf of company. It's very important. Can each of you give me some example? What kind of benefits you have? One, just one will do. Medical, insurance, only medical insurance. Any others? Petrol tak payah ke? Can claim petrol or not? For those Miri come, they need hotel, right? Accommodation, transportation, foods. All these are the benefits provided by the company. All the while we can claim deduction one. But moving forward, how we ensure the company you can enjoy to claim the deduction? So document-wise, how should we actually keep the document? Should we continue the current practice or we actually should document down? If your current practice are just simply write one, maybe it's time for us to relook into the process. How we make it become more structured to document everything. Because not everything you can raise sell bill. You cannot simply raise sell bill for yourself one. And the e-invoice that you need to obtain for those like hotel, right? They can get from hotel to issue the bill under the company name. Then the company can claim. But there are certain cannot, right? Petrol cannot. What if the director said, I want to join the club membership? It will be under his name already. So this one, if let's say cannot under company name, it can be under employee's name. But ensure that all this stated clearly in your company policy and your staff handbook. So for those benefits that you have raised, yes, some of them they are here. So like your utility bills, parking fee, car maintenance charges, club membership, gym membership, professional subscription, if you have any. This one is eligible. It's also considered as employee benefits. Your allowances for all your traveling, outstation, overseas, all this is part of your employment package. But there are certain expenses you will incur on behalf of the company, like you went outstation, there will be certain like accommodation, mileage you will claim from the company. So all this, how should we tackle it? We put in, okay. So what we need to remember is general rule. Whenever this kind of transaction happen, as far as you can, try to request the invoice to be issued under the company's name. If you are unable to issue under the company name, we look at step number 2, 3, and 4. So in the event if you cannot, right, for local one and also overseas one, but overseas one, very hard for them to issue the e-invoice and you don't have to comply with e-invoice. So in the handbook, we just stated clearly for overseas one, it's okay. We can continue to receive those for overseas e-invoice and no need to have sell bill. Remember, not everything requires sell bill. So for this type of staff claim and you incur those overseas one, no need sell bill. It's only importation of goods, services, you need to have sell bill. But for those staff claim, you incur, let's say you stay in overseas hotel, you take their taxi, all this, no need. You incur certain expenses in your restaurant, also not necessary. You just take the invoice as it is or the receipt. Then you can make your claim already. So that will be for the overseas one. Local one, as far as you can, request the e-invoice issue under company name. If you cannot, under your name. Under your name, just ensure that policy stated clearly. Then under the concession rule, you can continue to enjoy the tax deductions. So the payment You must ensure that other than the e-invoice, must ensure it's a validated e-invoice if you requested issue under employee's name or company names. Remember QR code. Every time when you receive invoice, check QR code. So for the company-wise, you may set the policy to say that within how many days employee should submit your claim. For failure to do that, I have certain clients, they really quite strict. They say exceed 30 days, they won't entertain anymore. So it depends on the company policy. Do you want to impose similar this kind of restrictions? There are some companies, they try to take the opportunity to tighten up all their policy. So in order to use this concession rule, you must just to ensure everything stated clearly in your current policy. If you need help me to help you to take a look, you let me know. So another important thing is this disbursement or reimbursement. It looks similar, right? What is the difference? So actually, we look at three parties lah. Let's say I am the supplier too, and you are for Matra. You are here. You are the buyer. Let's say this one is LHDN. I have to don't use LHDN. We use other people. DPKL. Okay, this one is DPKL. This one is KNK. This one is Matra. So today, because Metra engaged KNK, so KNK helped Metra to perform certain things. So in the event, let's say this DBKL, they issue the invoice to Metra directly. So for us, because I still make no matter how KNK will make the payment first, just the invoice, the party is different. If they invoice directly to Metra, we call it as disbursement. If they invoice directly to KNK, in my invoice itself, it will show as reimbursement. So for your invoice, if you happen like transportation, because you are selling, you are trading, some of them, they have transport charges. So you look at transport charges for this invoice is directly to Metra or to your customer. Then you have to put in the correct coding. Because when it comes to e-invoice, later you'll see the line. For e-invoice, they only look at sales. Reimbursement and disbursement is not considered as your sales value. So we have to put it in a separate line item when it comes to e-invoice. Not clear? Never mind. We use this one real life example. This one is a legal invoice. So normally you have the legal fee, legal service fee here. So you will see a lot of disbursement and reimbursement all in one invoice. That was the earlier one before e-invoicing. All in one invoice. You have a legal service fee, disbursement, reimbursement. What is the disbursement? All the stamping fee. All this, because all this stamping fee, it will directly issue under the company names. So this one, they fall under disbursement category. As for reimbursement, you will have like the telephone charges, transportation charges, which the engagement, let's say the lawyer, the one who help you to incur first, and everything will charge to them. So this one fall under reimbursement. So this is the sample structure in an invoice when it comes to the legal fee. So when it comes to disbursement, looking back to this scenario, I have mentioned in the invoice itself, there is a separate classification code you need to use. Anyone still remember how many classification code we have in total? Proper. Who think 100? More than 100? Classification code. Classification code. I have option 1, 2, 3 give. First one, more than 100. Second one, 50. Or below 50. 100, 50, below 50. No answer one today. To this slide, I don't have the answer. A, B, or C? Chicken C. Siapa lagi? The rest? A? Who is A? You A. Selena A. Or what? You B. Vanessa? A. C. B. 50. Shen? A. A. Oh my God, later I have to bring back my earlier slide already. Only satu orang correct now. The correct one is 45. 45 classification code. This one very important because you want to claim your personal relief, right? In the classification code, a lot of personal relief there. For company, you are using code 22. Others, because you cannot see anywhere for trading. So you will fall under 22. But for others, in case you have to recharge your certain transport charges, you need to have some reimbursement or disbursement. Disbursement code will be 006. If the invoice directly from the other party is to your customer, then it will be fall under disbursement. And if you look at the guideline, if you think that you have the time to digest what they read, actually according to the guideline itself, they mention that disbursement not to include in the invoice. And you need to give them payment proof. It means that you need to give them to show that you already made the payment. Ask your customer to pay you. Imagine, let's say today I provide service to you. Then actually I help you to make another payment, let's say license fee. I help you to make payment to DPKL. I give you my service charges 1,000. Then the license fee 500 I pay already. And I give you one invoice. Then I give you another receipt from DPKL. Don't you think that is a bit troublesome? For accounting wise, you have to look at two records. So for convenient purpose, we can put it together one. So if you read the guideline, it will be a bit misleading, even though they explain to you in this way. So for disbursement, just to clarify, no need, you can have payment proof, show them. But in your invoices, still put in disbursement inside your invoice. Same to reimbursement. You also put it together. Reimbursement very clear. You confirm you have to put it together, but the coding is different. It's 027 for reimbursement. So for the reimbursement, it's for all the expenses that you incur, pay on behalf. Just the invoice is everything to the supplier. So the buyer just pay to the supplier too, since they have engagement between them. They don't have engagement with the supplier one. Supplier two will help to make everything, make the payment for everything. So now I actually just demo to you. This is the sample I have generated for the, is it clear? Can see or not? You can scan it. This one, genuine one, using the testing environment. So you can see, I have the professional charges. Professional charges is here. And I also have the standard one, the disbursement and also the reimbursement. It's just that the coding is different. We have 006 and 027. You can everything put in one invoice. If you want to have your own logo for Matra one, right, you can also upload inside the portal if you want. The SQL one, I'm not sure, did they put in the company logo already? Haven't. I'm not sure whether the format request is the same or not, because for the government one, using the IRB one, if you want to put in the logo, it needs to be in PNG format. And the dimension is 400 times 400. If you want to put in the logo, for KNK one, I haven't put it in. Earlier on, I don't have that kind of dimension. I'm going to upload it because we just generate for that particular format. Then in future, if I use a My Invoice portal, I can see my company logo as well. You can put it there. Optional for you. But some of them, they want to see their logo. It's just for your information, because I see Matra, all your invoices, you have the logo. You can put it here as well. It's just the dimension. You have to set correctly. Otherwise, you cannot upload it. But no worry, later I will bring you to in details again when we go through the portal. So now, I think I have time. Let me finish this one. Okay, for this cross-border transaction, what we mean is we focus on all these foreign purchase. So Xuan is in charge, but the rest of you, also for your knowledge, what is this foreign purchase? Earlier on, when it comes to this cross-border transaction, there is any sales happen, let's say the UK company sell to the Malaysian company, they will just issue the invoice to the Malaysia company. But moving forward, when it comes to this e-invoicing era, what will happen? They will still issue the invoice to you. But Malaysia company, we cannot just accept as it is already. There is some additional step you need to do. First of all, you need to raise sale bill. Sell bill to LHDN. There will be the additional step for you. And for Malaysia company, you actually is not obliged to share this e-invoice to them. No need to share with them one. You just issue it to let IRB validate it. For this to recognize you have made such a purchase from this UK Limited. Anyone got any questions here? So far okay? And the timing for this issuance of sale bill, please bear in mind, importation of goods is latest by the end of the month. By the end of the month, following the custom clearance. So when you receive your K1 form, right? Let's say today you receive it. By the end of following month, end of February, you must sell bill. But in order to avoid forgetting all this, maybe remind yourself how fast you can really prepare this sell bill. Otherwise, penalty come in. You can do it earlier. You can do it earlier. Yes, yes, yes. So for importation or service, is whichever is earlier, invoice received or payment is made. So this will be for the importation of service. But what I see for Matra, I think the main concern will be more on importation of goods. So now I'm going to bring you to dive into this importation of goods. Let's say we have one foreign supplier. Their invoice, the one supplier invoice, but the importation goods they have multiple shipments. Does it happen for Matra so far? Let's say one invoice, you have 2 shipments, 3 shipments, or 4 shipments. It might happen. It might happen. In case it really happened, let's say the date of the foreign supplier invoice is 1st January. They issue before even the first import shipment clearance is obtained. So when the date of clearance is 10 January, just now we mentioned the trigger time is the clearance date, isn't it? So do you think that on 10 January, you have to raise sale bill e-invoice? You already received the invoice 1st January. Issue invoice receipt before the clearance form. Do we need to have the sale bill? We try this one. This one you need to have. Yes, you need to have it. But since you have it, because this one is in full one, they cover all the 4 shipments. Since you already have sale bill e-invoice on 10 January, when come to 12 March, 30th September, 16th December, do we still need to raise sale bill again? Wawa say yes. Yes, no?
No.
You sudah buat satu. You cannot duplicate. If you do another round, duplicate already.
No.
Yeah, no for the rest. Yeah. Yes, I think you caught what we want already. So it means that for each transaction, let's say this one already covered, you receive, right? And your sale bill already cover all. That's it. Don't issue anymore in the subsequent shipment. So one invoice cover already. Let's see another scenario. Also multiple shipment. Date difference already. The date of foreign supplier invoice now is they issue after the first import shipment clearance is obtained. 1st October is their invoice date. But shipment come in first. So do you think you need to have sale bill e-invoice on 10 January? Yes or no? Selena, what's the answer? This one you think no? Why no?
The invoice is from 1 October. Sebab shipment dia clearance.
Okay, go back here.
Go back.
Importation,
It is by the end of the month.
But you have invoice already. This one is just a summary. You have invoice, you have the clearance form. Clearance form comes first, invoice later. So I give you the answer. You need to have sale bill. You have received clearance form. So you cannot say that I didn't receive invoice, I don't issue sale bill. It's considered you already received. You have to recognize such a purchase. So any difference or variance you need to make, maybe the last one, when you receive your invoice, then you make the adjustment. So this is a bit different when it comes to multiple shipment. So this is 1st October, you already receive it, but before that, you have a lot of shipment. So for all the shipment before that, you need to have sale bill. So when come to really 1st October, you receive it, yes, you only need to raise sale bill upon issuance of this foreign one. Then you can see how you can put it together. As for the last one, no need already, because this one already covered. Okay, can. This one is custom clearance, sini foreign invoice, Apa? I have another scenario. Lagi satu. Cuba lagi. Okay. So also one invoice for multiple shipment. So for one invoice for multiple shipment, the date of this foreign supplier date, 31st December. Now become 31st December is issued after the final import shipment. They ship everything first. They only send invoice to you. Could it be happen? It happened? Really? Oh, you got shipment all come in, only invoice later. Oh no, your okay. If you happen then this is what you need to take note. Invoice last day of the year, clearance come first. Sale bill, perlu tak? But 10 January, who think 10 January you need to have sale bill? Yes or no?
Say yes.
You say yes. Yes. Who say no? Shen? Yes, you're very important. You have a notice.
Yes.
So much. Much clearance. 30th September.
Yes.
16th, yes. Last one, not applicable. It only come to yes if there is variance. Because you already raised so many sale bill, you may have some difference or variance. If you have variance, then you raise sale bill to do some adjustment on that part for all the transaction. But this one, better use system to monitor. If you do it manually, imagine you use my invoice portal. You may have to keep track separately to check where are those variants. Where right now, what I think working together with Vanessa, we use a lot of manual way to capture all these things using my invoice portal. So it's very important to have the ERP system in place. Okay, so before I can go to this my invoice portal, we have a 15 minutes break. Please bring your laptop if you have. Kalau tak, maybe we have to focus to use these two laptop already to exercise it. Okay, just a 15 minutes break. Oh. Okay, have to write. I need everyone can do me a favor to write your name. Thank you.
Dia custom clearance punya date tu tengok. Kalau date custom clearance tu February, maknanya yes, kau tulis tadi dulu. Even kau punya invoice is on the